I'm gonna do it again because I got to break Kevin's new record. I got to get back on this stage because this new record.
I don't know what records nobody broke, Kevin.
Kevin Hart has been killing it in the comedy game for years now. But lately, it seems like his crown is being threatened by some serious competition. Other comedians, especially black ones, are now criticizing him, which can be tough because comedians can really be harsh with their words. Now Kevin is reportedly nervous about the whole situation, begging the question, why would Kevin, with all his fame, be nervous about his fellow comedians, especially Katt Williams? Eddie Murphy has apparently stepped into the fray and is seeking to address the question. So why is Kevin Hart afraid? The rumor mill is churning out some fresh gossip about Kevin Hart, and it's not looking good for the comedian. From what we can gather, there's a whole lot of dirt in his closet, and we saw a bit of it when Katt Williams talked about it earlier this year.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to...
Kevin tried to clap back at him, but you could see he was shaken.
Lion comes out and rides the bike. You don't think about it too hard. You just go, okay, that's crazy. The lion's riding the bike. And then you go...
Now, with Eddie Murphy and some of his industry peers gearing up to spill the beans, it seems like Kevin might have more trouble ahead. Now, we all know Eddie Murphy as someone who is usually relaxed, like that cool uncle at family gatherings who doesn't stir up trouble, but only tries to dissipate it. So if he's getting involved in criticizing Kevin Hart, it's a big deal. They respect each other and have even worked together on projects like Meet Dave. But even with their history, it seems like Eddie has had enough of Kevin's folly and is ready to spill the beans. So what has Kevin done to ruffle Eddie's feathers? The thing is, whispers of Kevin Hart's alleged wrongdoings have been swirling around Hollywood for a while now. Rumors of backdoor deals, secret handshakes, and unsavory acts that have plagued the comedian's reputation. And who better to know the truth than Eddie Murphy, the seasoned veteran of the entertainment industry? With his ear to the ground and years of experience, Eddie is sure to know what's really going on behind the scenes. Katt Williams talked about this during the Shay Shay podcast. According to Katt, Kevin Hart is an industry plant. He mentioned how Kevin became famous really fast, getting a sitcom and starring in Soul Plane, all in his first year in LA. According to Katt, all this is suspicious and makes Kevin's early career look mysterious.
In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to L.A. and in his first year in L.A. he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading?
If you're not familiar with the ongoing feud between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart, it started back in 2008 with the film Fool's Gold. Williams was initially set to star in the film but was forced to pass on the opportunity due to legal issues. That's when Hart swooped in and scored the lead role. According to rumors, that's where the tension between Williams and Hart first began. Katt Williams has been vocal about his concerns regarding the power dynamic between comedians and the media and the potential for harmful narratives to be spread if those with the biggest platforms aren't held accountable. However, he's aware that speaking out could cost him, as some may dismiss him as a bitter or jealous comedian. When asked if he's worried about the backlash, he responded,
People are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people. That's why, do you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen.
The idea that Kevin Hart is an industry plant comes from a long-standing Hollywood rumor. There's talk that entertainers are pressured into wearing dresses on screen as a sort of initiation before they can become really famous. It's not just Katt Williams who talks about this. Even Dave Chappelle mentioned it in a 2006 interview on Oprah's show. He famously turned down a $50 million deal from Comedy Central because he didn't want to deal with the strings attached to big money. Dave has been in the entertainment industry since he was 14 and has heard stories about what happens behind the scenes. He mentioned examples like Mariah Carey getting a $100 million deal, but then being called crazy shortly after, or Martin Lawrence becoming famous and then behaving strangely in public. When Oprah asked him about hearing these stories, Dave explained that he had seen it happen before. According to him, it seems like every time an entertainer's career is on the brink of making it big, they are often pressured to do something that will expose them in a negative light. Dave Chappelle himself experienced this when he was pressured to create sketches that made people laugh at him, not with him. He recalled a specific instance where he was asked to wear a dress in a movie with Martin Lawrence. To Chappelle, it felt like they wanted him to put himself on blast for a paycheck. The story gets even more bizarre. In addition to the pressure to create embarrassing sketches, Chappelle even recalled being asked to wear a dress for a scene in a movie he did with Martin Lawrence. When he walked into the trailer and saw a dress, he thought it was a mistake.
This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here.
Little did he know that the dress was actually for him, and he was supposed to wear it for a scene in which Martin's character sneaks out of jail by dressing Chappelle as a woman.
They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail, so he disguises you as a prostitute.
The pressure on Chappelle to wear the dress was intense, with writers, directors, and producers pushing hard for him to do it. But he held his ground, refusing to compromise his creative integrity.
And what? A prostitute? No, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable.
In the end, they wrote a new scene without the dress, and Chappelle was left wondering how they came up with it so fast. It wasn't only that Chappelle was against wearing the dress. He felt that the industry was trying to control black artists and force them into compromising situations to achieve success. It was a frustrating experience that left him feeling trapped and manipulated. Dave said this whole experience opened his eyes. It took being asked to wear a dress for him to realize that many other black men had been asked to do the same thing. Martin Lawrence did it in Big Mama's House, Eddie Murphy in the Nutty Professor movies, and Jamie Foxx with his character Ugly Wanda in the show In Living Color. Then there were the Wayans brothers in White Chicks. Among all these, Tyler Perry stands out with his Medea franchise. During this time, a young Kevin would join the conversation, sharing wisdom and insights. Kevin was all about artists protecting their brand, setting boundaries, and not crossing certain lines. He vibed with his personal beliefs, and there was no dress drama in sight. When the topic of wearing a dress for a role came up, Kevin was straightforward, saying he hadn't faced that dilemma.
To put on the dress, I mean, you have to have boundaries. You have to have.
He emphasized knowing your boundaries and protecting your brand, steering clear of anything that could compromise your image.
You're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So, protecting my brand is.
Kevin even mentioned turning down a request to dribble a basketball on a talk show because it would make him look foolish.
I don't have to speak on him. I was asked to dribble a basketball.
But here's where things get interesting. Just a year after Chappelle refused to wear a dress, Kevin Hart was on SNL in a dress.
And from the looks of it, the new pope is not Turkson. The new pope is 9-year-old Oscar nominee Kavanaugh Wallace.
Some fans were outraged, accusing him of selling out and being fake. It was a complete about-face from his previous stance on protecting his brand. At first, he was resolute in his refusal to wear a dress, but as soon as the opportunity came up, he flipped his position. Suddenly, it was all jokes and fun. It left a bad taste in some fans' mouths, and they felt betrayed by his reversal. But here's where it gets tricky. Kevin started defending the industry, arguing that artists putting on dresses like Martin Lawrence, Tyler Perry, and Jamie Foxx weren't forced to do anything they didn't want to do. They made their own choices.
You know what? I was actually one of those comedians that said, no, I wouldn't wear a dress. There's no way I would wear a dress. And then when proposed with the opportunity of what I felt was funny, I thought...
He's telling us it's all about choice. But there's an argument going around. People are saying it's not just a choice. Kevin himself wasn't okay with the idea before the money came into play. When the cash starts rolling in, integrity takes a back seat. It's like the money has power to make people do things they said they'd never do. Truth be told, when that paycheck is on the table, people tend to show their true colors. Remember when Steve Harvey talked about integrity? He straight up said, "Give me $10 million and I'll embarrass myself all the way to the bank." He was ready to toss his integrity aside for a big paycheck. It's a tough reality, but he put it out there. But these things might be getting worse for Kevin because Tori Hart, his ex-wife, is hitting the road on tour with Katt Williams on his Dark Matter tour. Kevin and Katt basically can't stand each other, and the fact that Torrei Hart, Kevin's ex-wife, is teaming up with Katt Williams for a tour has got people raising their eyebrows and wondering what's going on. There has also been news about them planning to reveal some of the comedian's deepest secrets and darkest fears with receipts to back them up. Torrei spilled the beans on Instagram, sharing a picture of her and her good friend Katt Williams. Then in a recent interview, when Kevin was asked about Torrei hitting the road with Katt, he tried to play it cool and deliver a mature response.
Your ex-wife is going on tour with Katt.
Everybody went, I hope the tour is great.
He sounds like...
But you could practically see the annoyance radiating off of him. You know it's serious when your ex-wife is going on tour with Katt. Even though Kevin has fired back at the rumors circulating about him, shrugging them off like they're no big deal, likely they've still tainted people's perceptions of him. What's your opinion on this whole situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.